I'm Jack Harrow, a 38-year-old accountant who once believed I'd scripted a life of quiet perfection. 5 years ago, I married Claire, a 34-year-old interior designer whose beauty could set a room ablaze and whose touch once ignited my every nerve. Our Seattle home thrummed with the warmth of our golden retriever, Rusty, and the promise of future children. But that illusion shattered 6 months ago when I uncovered the tangled web of Claire's desires, plunging us into a maelstrom of lust, betrayal, and revelations that reshaped our existence. It began with her lengthening absences. Claire attributed them to late-night projects for a wealthy Bellevue client, her gaze slipping past mine as she collapsed into bed, her skin tinged with an unfamiliar musk. I trusted her. Her passion for design was a flame I revered, while I steadied us with meticulous finances. Yet that trust frayed as I noted her rushed showers, the phone she clutched like a secret lover, the way her laughter dimmed in my presence. One restless night, insomnia drove me to her phone, abandoned on the kitchen counter. Her passcode, memorized from fleeting glances, unlocked a cascade of truth. Messages from Ryan, a rugged contractor she'd worked with, seared my vision. Last night's fire still consumes me. You're a vision. A photo followed Claire, her blouse parted to expose silken skin, her lips locked with his in a heated embrace, her hands tracing his broad frame. My breath hitched, a volatile mix of fury and fascination surging within. I saved the image, my pulse racing, and returned the phone just as she stumbled in at 3 a.m. Her dress creased, her cheeks aglow. I masked my turmoil, pressing a kiss to her forehead with feigned tenderness. But inside, I simmered. The next day, I shadowed her to a discreet motel on the city's edge, a haven for hidden sins. Ryan awaited, his chiseled presence radiating confidence, and through a smudged window, I witnessed their abandon. Claire pressed against him, her breaths a melody of longing as he lifted her onto the sagging bed, their bodies intertwined, her gasps rising, her fingers digging into his back in a dance of raw desire I'd never stirred. The sight hollowed me, her eyes gleaming with a passion that had slipped from our marriage, leaving me adrift. Whiskey became my refuge, the image of her betrayal looping mercilessly. Had I neglected her, our intimacy had settled into a rhythm: dinners at 7, walks with Rusty, a mechanical closeness, while she craved untamed fire. I needed more than self-reproach. I sought answers, a late-night foray into an online sanctuary for the betrayed led me to Mara, a tarot seer known for deciphering karmic bonds. Her parlor, thick with sage and shadow, drew me in, my heart pounding with anticipation. Mara, a lean woman with piercing green eyes, shuffled her deck with a knowing glance. Lay bare your soul, she urged. I confessed Claire's late nights, the motel encounter, the photo. She drew 3 cards: past, present, future. The tower inverted revealed a shaky foundation, my stability clashing with her unfulfilled yearning. Both of us blind to the strain. 5 of Cups reflected my present grief, fixated on shattered trust, yet hinting at obscured possibilities. Judgment promised karmic reckoning, and a choice, vengeance or restoration. Her words settled deep, a puzzle I carried as I departed. The card's weight a constant hum. Desperation sharpened my resolve. I concealed a recorder in our bedroom, a plunge into shadowed voyeurism. 2 nights later, Claire brought Ryan home, unaware of my vigilance. She led him to our bed, her voice a sultry murmur. Stir me as he never could. Their bodies collided, a storm of flesh and fervor, her cries echoing as she arched against him, nails raking his skin in a crescendo that mocked my memory. I captured every sound, a blend of revulsion and morbid intrigue coursing through me, my hands unsteady. The confrontation erupted. Claire brewed coffee, her demeanor serene. When I slammed the recorder down, "Reveal your deceit, you beguiling temptress," I growled, unleashing the audio her gasps, his grunts, a symphony of betrayal. The mug slipped, shattering, her face draining as tears fell. "Jack, please, let me explain," she stammered. "Explain how you desecrated our bed with that rogue, how you sighed his name while I toiled for us." I roared, dialing Ryan on speaker. "Hey, my enchantress," he purred. "Lay hands on her again, you cur, and I'll ruin you," I thundered. He disconnected, and Claire crumpled, sobbing. "It was a misstep." He rekindled a flame I'd lost. She choked. "Lost? You incinerated us for a dalliance." I spat, storming out, my rage a living pulse. I channeled my anguish into anonymous words, sharing my tale through a veiled outlet. The audio a suggestive echo of their indiscretions. Responses poured in. Some branded her a seductress. Others urged destruction. A few unveiled their own wounds. Her world began to fray as clients pieced together her voice, her business teetering. Ryan abandoning her to protect his name. Karma, as Mara foretold, took hold. Yet she sought me out, her eyes red, voice trembling. "I'll redeem myself, Jack. Therapy, anything. I love you," she pleaded. "Love?" You savored his touch more, I sneered. But her vulnerability kindled a flicker of compassion. I agreed to counseling, a trial of her sincerity. Dr. Patel, a composed guide, navigated our chaos. Claire wept, admitting neglect had drawn her to Ryan's flattery. A spark I'd let fade. I raged about the humiliation, the exposed pain, and she absorbed it, steadfast. Weeks peeled back truths. I'd buried myself in work. She'd hungered for chaos. One night, after a raw session, she knelt, tears streaming. "Let me reclaim us," she murmured, her touch igniting a primal surge. Our union was fierce, unpolished, a bridge over fractured trust, though love lingered out of reach. Then the drama escalated. Lisa, Ryan's ex, contacted me with evidence, photos of Ryan entwined with her during his affair with Claire. Texts laying bare his duplicity. "He's a relentless charmer," she wrote. "Let's dismantle him." Stunned, I realized Claire had been misled too. Before I could process, Ryan appeared at my door, bruised and frantic. "She's framing me," he gasped. "Claire ensnared me, threatened to sabotage my livelihood unless I complied." He produced texts, her demands for his submission. A scheme I'd never imagined. My mind reeled. Had Claire orchestrated this? I confronted her. Lisa's proof and Ryan's claims clashing. Claire paled, then laughed, a hollow sound. He's fabricating. I faltered, but he pursued me, exploited me. Lisa's his tool. The room swayed. Both could be true. Both entangled in lies. Dr. Patel mediated, and Claire confessed, manipulating Ryan after their first encounter, fearing exposure, while Ryan admitted preying on her weakness, a mutual snare, spiraling beyond control. My anger flared anew, yet her tears, her plea for mercy, tugged at my resolve. The intensity grew when Mrs. Delaney, our inquisitive neighbor, confided she'd seen Claire with another man, not Ryan, months earlier. A figure cloaked in shadow. My world tilted. Another lover. Claire insisted it was a client, a professional exchange. But her hesitation bred doubt. I unearthed a hidden journal, entries of a torrid liaison with Marcus, a rival designer, predating Ryan. She juggled them, a labyrinth of desire I'd ignored. Rage consumed me, but her collapse, sobbing, begging to confess fully, softened the edge. The peak arrived when Marcus emerged, a sleek predator, claiming Claire owed him hush money. He wielded recordings, her voice, her promises, a blackmail plot unraveling. I played them, her gasps with him a piercing wound. Claire broke, admitting all Ryan was a rebound, Marcus a lapse, her need for dominance driving her to ruin. I'm a wretch, she whispered. I teetered on abandoning her. But Lisa, now an ally, uncovered Marcus's own indiscretions, offering to expose him, shielding Claire from further fallout. The decision loomed: obliterate them or salvage us. In a charged night, I confronted Marcus with Lisa's evidence. He fled, his empire trembling, while Ryan, undone by Lisa's revelations, lost his standing. Claire and I faced a stark reality: her betrayals, my neglect, a shared ruin. She offered her body, her soul, in a desperate bid for redemption, and I accepted, a tempest of anger and yearning. We clashed, loved, shattered, and began to mend, adopting a rescue pup for Rusty, a beacon of hope. But a letter from Marcus arrived, threatening vengeance, hinting at a child from their affair. Claire denied it, but the uncertainty gnawed, a shadow over our fragile peace. Karma's wheel had turned, and I stood at its cusp, weighing my next move. As nights deepened, I found myself alone with my thoughts, Rusty at my feet. Claire slept beside me, her breathing uneven, her hand resting on mine, a gesture of trust I wasn't sure I could return. I stared at the ceiling, the letter burning in my mind, Marcus's threat, a whisper of chaos. Her journal lay open on the nightstand, pages of her longing, Marcus's bold caresses, Ryan's reckless passion, my steady absence. She'd been a storm I failed to weather, yet her tears, her surrender, stirred something primal. I imagined her with them, her body arching, her cries filling the air, and felt a jolt of envy, desire, rage. Could I reclaim her, punish her? The thought of her submitting to me, fully mine, sent a shiver through me, a promise of nights to come. But that letter, Marcus's child, hovered like a specter. Was it true? Her denial rang sincere, yet doubt fueled my fire. I pictured confronting him, stripping his lies bare, watching him crumble as she clung to me, or perhaps letting it fade, building something new with her, her body a canvas for our redemption. The choice intoxicated me, a game of power and passion I couldn't resist. I wanted more of her confessions, her pleas, her skin against mine. If you crave this saga's next chapter, this dance of desire and deceit, seek me out. Subscribe to my hidden tales, where every secret unfolds, every passion ignites, and every reckoning awaits. Join me, and let's unravel the crimson veil together.